All right. Okay, hello everybody, and we're looking forward to playing University of Georgia. Georgia game is usually second game of the year. This time it's third game of the year. I was watching the tape of our game last year, one of the best offensive games I think we've had around here in a long time. Dylan Thompson and the receivers all played very well. We're fortunate enough to eke out a victory over. Right now we're not moving the ball quite as well as we were back then, but we feel like we have a chance to match up with Georgia. Vandy played them pretty tough last week. Vandy stayed on the field, made some fourth downs, and sort of played keep away with the ball, so forth, and actually had a chance late in the fourth quarter, but they threw a pick for a score. But Georgia's like always, they're fast on defense, run the ball extremely well, don't throw it quite as much as they did back when Murray was there, but they're still very capable, outstanding receivers. They're always in the top 10 recruiting, and they got tremendous athletes across the board. So we got to go play a little bit better than we've been playing. We got to play without some really careless mistakes that hurt us last week. Just briefly on last week, our fans were super sensational, loud. We had a bunch of recruits here, and I think even though we didn't win the game, it was very impressive to those guys. The new stadium, all the beautification here just adds to South Carolina football. So we're appreciative of all that. And now we got to do a better job on the field, coaching our players, and our players got to play more discipline than what we've been doing. If we can do those things, we believe we can turn this into a very successful season. Okay, any questions? Josh, go ahead. Oh, Joseph. Oh, you got it first. All right. David got it. Okay, David.
Steve, have you seen any change in Perry's demeanor since he's the starting quarterback now, or has he kept it pretty even-keeled?
Yeah, we just had one practice since Perry's now the starter, and he was pretty much the same as always. He played pretty well the other night. Obviously, the last play was a careless interception on first down that it really hurt us. Last play we had it on offense. Other than that, he did a nice job throwing the ball around and handing it off and catching the snaps. We probably moved the ball with Perry in there the second half, the best we have all year. We had a chance. Well, we had 5 possessions, had a chance to score 5 touchdowns, and we turned it into 3 field goals, 1 touchdown, and an interception on first down. So we ought to quit getting penalties on the 1-yard line, and 2nd and 1. The lineman didn't quite make his block, and the guy ran through and threw it for a 2-yard loss on the 1-yard line. So those things were really crucial to hurting us. But hopefully we can correct those mistakes. And Perry played overall, I think, pretty well.
Steve, why have you given these guys such fits throughout the years for 2 decades
Given
now?
what guys?
Georgia.
Oh, I think we've just been fortunate to get some breaks here and there and win some close games, lose some close games with them too. But we've played them really well here at home, seems like most all the time. We've won a couple over there since I've been here, but it's who knows why. Sometimes you win a lot of close games against one team and not another team, but sometimes that just happens. No particular reason.
Do you have a favorite game in this series or a couple that stick out to you against Georgia, whether it be here or when you were at Florida?
Favorite of the 11 here?
Or Florida. Anything that sticks out in your mind from playing Georgia?
Oh, well, without a doubt, the 92 game. We're playing Georgia, and they were actually favored. Garrison Hurst, and they were favored, but if we won the division and if South Carolina beat Tennessee, we were going to win the Eastern Division. And I think we beat them 26-24. Eric Zier was their quarterback. And that was the day South Carolina beat Tennessee 24-23, something like that. So that was a happy day. And that was the first year of division play, 92. So that was neat. I guess that'd be my favorite because there was a championship involved, sort of involved that night. We still had to beat Vandy the next week, but that put us in position to win the Eastern Division.
I think there's a belief that you like them less than you like any of your other opponents. Is that true? Is there something special about them?
Not really. Obviously, when I got the job at Florida, Georgia was a team that was a thorn in the side of the Gators for history. I think somebody said that every time the conference championship was on the line, Georgia had won the game. If Georgia was involved in it, or if Florida was involved in it, Georgia always won the game. So we needed to change that if we're going to ever win an SEC down there. And fortunately, we had a lot better players than they did in the early 90s there to sort of get an upper hand.
Coach, with Perry's history, considering he's a former walk-on and how hard he's had to work to get where he is, are you surprised at his demeanor and how calm that he seems to carry himself?
No, not really. He's a mature young man, and he throws a nice pass, as you can see. When he takes his steps and gets protection and throws it, he can throw a beautiful pass. And he's been here, 3 years now, earned a scholarship preseason. So if we can protect him and get some guys open, he's very capable.
Steve, when you talk about playing with more discipline, are you referring just to the penalties, or are you speaking more broadly than that?
Well, I'm talking about the penalties and blocking assignments and fitting the runs, things of that nature. And we didn't do it very well last game. Obviously, it was a sort of a game of two halves, and we had a lot of chances, but we had some major breakdowns at crucial times.
Steve, how is Chris Lamont's health, and is anybody else banged up for this week?
He's got a sprained knee. He's still out. Most of the players, I believe, should be ready to play with, of course, exception of Connor Mitch.
Steve, I was going to ask about Connor Mitch. Is there any update of his?
Yeah, GA and I went by there Sunday afternoon, or actually Sunday about 10:30 or so, and saw Connor. He's in good spirits. They kept him in the hospital. I think he's still in there today. He may get out today or tomorrow, but they had to give him some IVs for the bruise, mainly. The bruise on his hip, his side, had some internal bleeding in there. So they had to keep him in a while. It could have been very serious. His shoulder separation, it's on his right shoulder. If it were his left, maybe he could play in 2 or 3 weeks, something like that. But with his throwing arm, shoulder, it'll take a little more time.
Steve, you have Nunez as your backup this week, so he's moved up there. Do you plan to do more with him going forward this week?
Yeah, it all depends on how the game's going, of course. Lorenzo is a good player, and he's a good runner, good passer. And, I think we got to use him somewhere along the line. He played a little bit last week. We were moving the ball with Perry. We'll get both of them available and sort of see how the game goes.
Quickly, did you put Lorenzo in at the end of the first half because of arm strength? Because he was the guy who could get it to the end zone from there?
Well, he was our Hail Mary guy.
Okay.
And he can run around back there. To throw the Hail Mary, the quarterback's got to have about 5 seconds, give his players time to get down the field. So I told him, you got to run around now for a while, dodge a few of them, and then throw it as far as you can. And he came out there, and there was nobody within 50 yards, so he took off running. And I don't know if he could have reached the end zone. Gosh, we were on our own 38 or 40. It was a long way, but at that time, anything sounded better than running a screen or a draw play.
When you look at Perry's former walk-on, Carlton Hurd, I guess he's still a starter, former walk-on. Do you like that you've got guys who have elevated up, or is that an indication that your scholarship guys
our scholarship guys have not been quite the hit that maybe we thought they were going to be. But again, we give everybody a chance, and sometimes these walk-on players, I don't know if they work a little harder or out to prove more, but it's turned out that over the years I've had a lot of good walk-on players.
Speaking of walk-ons and Perry, I mean, how does that come to your attention? Does Steve Jr. see him and then GA sees him and says, hey, maybe this guy has something who can offer us?
Well, Perry actually came up to one of our summer camps, just like Michael Scarnecchia did. I mean, that's how I got to know him a little bit and so forth, and got him to walk on. Perry did, I guess, 3 years ago. And so that's how you notice a lot of players. Of course, Michael Scarnecchia is on scholarship, and Perry earned one this year. But he came to our summer camp. We got to know him a little bit, and he liked South Carolina and, paid his own way for about 2.5 years or so here. 2.5, 3.
Steve, saw Sean Carson's moved up to number 2 on the depth chart this week. You know, he's been making a case for more carries by his play on the field. Do you consider him more of an every down back or more of a change of pace type back?
Well, sometimes you just got to put him in there and let him play. And Sean, I think, average per carry, he's best on the team right now. So he's been productive when he gets the ball. Sometimes there was nothing there, and he was able to make yards. So he deserves to be second. Maybe if you went by yards per carry, he'd be first, I think. But yeah, he had some nice runs again last week, and well, he had some good play. Mm-hmm.
After the game, you said you thought your defense disguised better in the second half. Is that, after you looked at the tape, is that still your belief? And is there anything else that explains why they've been so much better in the second half than the first?
Yeah, that is a good question. The defensive coaches really thought we just played much better. Of course, we did. We got a couple holding penalties on them that they didn't come off of, which is always good. But I think the guys just played the game better, basically. First half, yeah, we didn't stop them much at all there, except the first possession. And then after that, we didn't stop them, I don't think, at all. So it was 2 halves, yeah. And we had so many chances on offense second half. It was just sad the way it turned out. But at some point, we got to be more disciplined, play our assignments better, and we'll be a lot better off. And not get careless penalties like the one on the 1 yard line.
You mentioned some of your scholarship guys haven't hit as much as you'd like. Is there an issue with recruiting that you think, or is that just cyclical and that happens?
Well, obviously, we think a lot of them still can be very good players. But yeah, we've missed on some guys. There's no question about it. Some guys we thought were going to be really good. It just did not work out. Okay. See y'all next time. All right.